Yeah, this is for like second grade. This is the second lesson in my unit. The first lesson we talked about how spiders are different than insects. We talked about their characteristics. Okay class, today we have a very special guest visiting us.
Oh
Can
goodness.
anyone tell me what's in this? A spider? A tarantula, that is correct. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Harry.
Oh my god.
I won't put him near you. Okay. Alright. Can you even see him?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so Harry is a Chilean rose-hair tarantula. He is from Chile. Does anyone know where Chile is? South America, that's correct. He is one of the most, or his species is one of the most docile species of tarantula. They would much rather run than act defensively. And then I'll show you one of his other defenses when we go over to the document. Does anyone have any questions about him? Michaela?
Where did you get him? Did you get him around here at a local?
Yeah, I got him from a pet store in Moorhead. And it's actually illegal to buy and sell tarantulas in Fargo. So I could not get him in Fargo.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it legal to have them in Fargo?
Yeah. So today what we're going to be doing first is I'm going to show you each of Harry's body parts. And you guys are going to follow along on the functions of the body part sheet. You guys can turn that around. I think I'm going to turn the light on.
And if you do telly, you can enlarge your words and then just readjust your paper. There you go.
So for the first body part, it's called a chelicerae. And on a tarantula and spiders, it cooperates. Okay. The chelicerae is this mouth part right here. They look like two little, I don't even know how to describe it. And what those functions are, they store the venom. So you guys can follow along on your sheet and write stores the venom glands. Yes.
Does he have venom, like, in him
Yes.
right now?
All tarantulas have venom. He is not poisonous to people. Most tarantulas are not poisonous to people, but if you have an allergic reaction, that can change. And their bites are comparable to that of a bee sting. I've never gotten bitten by him, and he's never tried. And what you'll notice, what he's just doing is he's scared. When he tucks his body all up like this, it means he's scared. So you guys, he has more to fear from us than we do. So for the next part, we're going to go to the eyes.
Would you want to go to the doctor if he did bite you, just
No.
to be sure? No.
Alright, well, he might not be cooperative. I was afraid he was going to.
Do you think it's the bright lights from the dock camera, Tom?
I don't think it's that. I think he's just kind of scared.
Okay.
Alright.
Do they have ears? Do they hear?
That I'm not quite sure about.
Oh, okay.
So what you will see, well, you guys can do a little bit blurry, but he has 8 eyes right up in the front, and those are obviously used for vision. Tarantulas actually, despite having 8 eyes, they have very poor eyesight, and they rely more on their vibrations. Okay. Our next word is pedipalp. Does anyone have any idea what a pedipalp is?
Is it the thing on his behind?
No, that's a spinneret, and we will get to that. His pedipalps, he's kind of has them tucked in right now. They are, well, they look like an additional set of legs, but these ones are shorter. And what they do is, they're kind of like an antenna in an insect. They use them for feeling. He also uses it to hold his prey in his mouth better. And it's also, he just uses it for movement. He'll walk on them. And another thing, in the males, the very tips of them will act like the reproductive organs in mature males. Yeah,
What do you feed your tarantula?
I feed him crickets. Did I see another question?
That was my question.
Okay. So it holds, or they hold prey, and they act as the male reproductive.
What grade is this, Tom?
2nd grade?
Okay, and you know what, you possibly won't even talk about the reproduction piece.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention it.
FYI for us, but for 2nd graders,
Yeah,
they won't
okay.
get it. Or we hope they won't.
So our next word on our list are legs. And I bet you guys can guess what the legs do. They are used for locomotion. And this, you can see his pedipalps much better. Alright, the cephalothorax, does anybody know what that is?
That's his head.
It's, Neil, you're right, it's the fusion of the head and thorax. One of the other differences between insects and spiders is that insects have 3 body parts, the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Spiders have a fusion of the head and the thorax, and that makes the cephalothorax. And that, it contains like parts of the heart, stomach, the nervous system. If you guys can't see, just remind me. I'm trying to write around it. So for the abdomen, does anybody know what the abdomen might contain?
Stomach.
The spider web.
Close. It holds more of their organs. You will find the intestines in that. And then the heart actually extends from the cephalothorax all the way into the abdomen, so you also will find parts of the heart.
So, oh, okay, well, this is kind of not really on topic.
But like, can they hear? So you think he like hears your voice and that's like calms him down?
Okay, it's definitely not that. They don't have the complexity to understand like voices and stuff.
Oh,
What they would probably would react to is the breathing on or like the sound waves, you know,
oh,
because they would feel that and they would react to that.
okay.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if they can hear it. So Michaela pointed out something earlier, the spinnerets, and on Harry, he has them tucked in right now. But there are these 2 little bumps right here. See? see if he'll.
We can actually see.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay. He kind of moves them around a little bit, and when he's in his web, he lays down web all the time, and that's kind of like their territory.
So he spins a web in that little.
Well, I actually have him in a 10-gallon aquarium. This is just his transport one, because it's pain in the rear end to carry it around. So the spinnerets, they make web. They use the web for, yeah.
So does he have web all over in his tank, like
no,
on the
just
wall?
no, just on the floor. But my other two, they have web all over.
gosh.
And it's messy. You can't even see them
Do you have to clean it out?
every once in a while.
Do they get along with each other, or do they?
No, they have to be separated, or else they would fight and kill each other.
So you have 3 types.
Well, my other two are kind of like, they're juvenile still, so they have much smaller tanks, right? And then when they'll grow, they'll get, something like this and then a 10-gallon once they're old enough.
Okay, so you have 3
Yeah.
tarantulas.
The other two, they're really small, so they look more like spiders than tarantulas. So the spinnerets, they make web. And what they do on their territory is they'll lay web all around the ground. And if they feel an insect touch it, it acts like a tripwire, so they'll run out and catch the prey. Alright, our next word is the pedicel. And what that is, it's a fibrous connection between the abdomen and the thorax. And it's flexible, so it allows them to move their abdomen around to make web. He doesn't do it as much, but my other two, you can see them, their cephalothorax will remain still, and they'll just move their abdomen around, putting the web down.
So it's like a joint?
It is like a joint, yep, like a flexible joint.
Okay.
And then it is the connector, so the organs do continue through it. Our next vocabulary word is fangs. Now, I bet you guys know what fangs do, but do you guys know how spiders eat? Anybody have any guesses? Answer.
They trap things in their web.
That's true, yep. Okay.
So the fangs aren't the first vocabulary word,
They are,
or are they just part of it?
the fangs, you can barely see them, and he's fighting me right now. It's, yeah, he doesn't like me in his bed, but he's okay. Hold on. The fangs are connected to the chelicerae. They're on the very ends of it. And how spiders eat, along with, spiders and tarantulas, they don't actually have a mouth. What they do is, they catch their prey and they inject it with venom. And what that venom does is, it liquefies the organs, like the insides. And then what they do is, the fangs are hollow, so they suck it up like it's a straw. So they have a nice bug smoothie. I often get asked, are they defanged? And you cannot defang a tarantula because otherwise it won't be able to eat, and then it will die. So he has both of his fangs, and I wish he would cooperate so I could show you. But we'll see that red area.
If you pull the worksheet out from underneath, will it focus maybe on the spider? Maybe not.
Is that little white?
Alright, you can kind of see them reflecting. Yeah, he's not having this right. And then you can see his spinnerets are hanging out.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So the things they're used for, injecting the venom. injecting the venom, and then they, suck up the remains. And our last vocabulary word today is book lungs. Now, insects and spiders, they breathe differently than us. Their lungs are located in their abdomen, and they don't have a diaphragm, so they don't actually breathe like you and I do. They don't, suck in or breathe in and breathe out. So what they do is they have book lungs. And the book lungs are these dark patches right here and right here. Can everybody see that? Kind of. Focus out. Move the paper.
I think it's hard.
Alright, well, there's two.
So they're right along the edge?
They're kind of right along the edge, yep.
Okay.
And how book lungs work, they look pretty much like a folded up book. So they'll have their book lungs, and there's all these different pages, if you will. And
You
they're,
need to move that, we can't see
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
illustration. Okay, there we go.
so they look somewhat like this. And what happens is, the air freely flows into it, and they'll diffuse into the blood vessels through the sheets, if you will. Then one more thing I wanted to point out about him is, when I was talking about him being defensive, there are two kinds of tarantulas. Old world tarantulas, which are from Africa, Asia, and like the area near Australia, Oceania. Then there's New World tarantulas, which what he is, and they live in North and South America. A New World tarantula is more likely to bite. Their first defense mechanism is biting. And a New World tarantula like Harry, his first defense is either to run away, or you'll see that he's balding right here. The hairs on their abdomens are called reticulating hairs, and what they do is, if they get really mad or frightened, they'll quickly rub their legs against their abdomen, and a cloud of hairs flies up, and these hairs irritate your skin. Just sometimes handling him, I will notice my hands sting. And that, it doesn't happen really anymore because he's quite bald, and once he molts, he'll have all that hair back, so we can use it again. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
How long does it take them to get from your two little ones to this size?
Well, it varies by species. The rose hairs are very slow growing, and I've had him since January, and I honestly couldn't tell you how old he is. But on the other hand, I had one of my other smaller ones. It started out probably the size of maybe that when I got it, and it's about that right now. And I had that one since May. So they, each species goes at their own rate. That's
Where in the world would we find this type of spider?
in Chile, down in South America. Yep.
Do you know how long they typically live?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Males live between about 2 to 5 years old because their sole purpose is to reproduce and then they die. Females, on the other hand, can live upwards of 25 years.
Wow.
And my sister has a female rose hair, and she's had her for a year now, so she's going to have a long time with that one. So
So if they don't ever reproduce, if they're pets like that, they don't reproduce?
they still die after they reach maturity. Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah.
You and your sister both have tarantulas. What got you interested in tarantulas?
My sister, actually, she's she's 11 now. She got Cinnamon, her tarantula, on her 10th birthday, and I used to be terrified of spiders. I said, Lauren, if you get that thing anywhere near me, I'm not I'm not coming home ever again. Well, when I came home, I gave it a try. I held it, and it turned out I loved it. So then I got him, and my sister and I, she has 3 tarantulas, and I have 3. So when we go home, we have huge tarantula. It's like a zoo out.
Like the biggest tarantula there could be, like in any species, how big could a tarantula get?
That would be the Goliath bird eater from South America, and they are 12-inch lifespan. It's like the dinner plate. Yes.
How often do they molt?
When they're younger, they'll molt quite often. My 2 younger
Because
ones.
they outgrow their,
Yeah.
okay.
Because they're growing so quickly. My other 2, they molt about once a month, and I've had him since January, and he has not molted at all yet. So it varies. A couple more questions, and then we have got to get on to our activity. Yeah.
Would you ever be able to get one of those ones that are at the size of a dinner plate?
Why would you want
Yeah.
You ever want one?
No, I just 3's enough. I think my other 2 are female, so they're already gonna live for a long time, and I don't want that kind of.
So in other words, you don't want to be a parent?
No, not the tarantula. Hey.
Spencer had one question
Oh, I'm
too.
sorry, go ahead.
Did you ever let them like roam around out of the aquarium in your house?
I will put him on my bed if I'm doing homework and just let him crawl around. What? No. The one thing that they do is another thing they do when they get scared is they poop. So I don't like holding him that long because it's not fun to get pooped on.
Okay, so is he gonna get cold? Because it's cold outside. Do you?
Yeah, but I only live a block away.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's
It's a minor
a
detail?
minor detail.
All right.
Alright, so you guys are gonna get into groups and turn your page around. And you will find a tarantula anatomy worksheet. And I provided the word bank for you. So what you're gonna do is, you guys can come up in groups, grab a couple spiders, and what you guys are gonna do is, you are going to identify all the body parts that we talked about today on your little spiders. So I have quite a few. You guys can grab like a big one, a couple small ones. So you guys are going to work together in a group and write about their anatomy. You guys can do that. Yeah, you guys can come up and grab a couple for your group. You guys can work together.
Yeah.
No, it's almost like you put it in the water and it absorbs water. Because
Oh,
it's
because
one of
it's
those
one of
things
those
where you
little spider thing, like stick it in the water and it blows up. So he's wet because he grew up in the water.
And then they, so that, yeah, so I got it.
Do these glow in the dark?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's just the coloration of some of them.
Okay guys, one more thing. On your bonus words, you have fangs and book lungs, and I included those because you cannot see them on this picture. So what you guys are going to do is, you're going to draw your own. I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that.
Because I think that is the
It's just me.
Feel free to ask questions.
Oh, what is this one? Where they connect? I thought that was a cephalopod.
So it's not. No, you put the book lungs.
those are his pedicels. Those are the
The big ones or the small ones?
The big ones.
Or the pedipalps.
Pedipalps. Yeah, because think of it. We could see the pedals, or we could see
The spinneret.
Want to point out something?
No.
Just have the bookworms over
This
here.
one is girls.
The pedestal.
No, the things you can't see.
The ones on the top, that's the chorizo.
That would be the pedestal.
I do.
Because it's one of those that put in water.
Things are
Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. On the bottom of your sheet, your exit slip question is gonna be, write down one thing you learned about spiders or tarantulas today. And that is all I have for you guys.
Oral feedback, please. Chandra, Courtney, and Molly. Scrunch together, guys. There we go. What went well?
I think it was neat that you actually brought your tarantula in. I think some of the kids would really like that. One thing, just in case he's not cooperating, like today, maybe have like a poster or some kind of picture where you can point out those parts where you can't see.
Yeah, having him here was very interesting. I do not like spiders at all, but as I watched him, you kind of became more comfortable with him. Like when you said he's scared and he was crushing, I was like, oh, like that's understandable. So I think just having kids be exposed to stuff like that just makes them a little more understanding of it and a little more like comfortable with it. So I thought that was good. And then a suggestion, I guess it was really interesting, but some of those vocabulary words maybe for second graders would be a little tricky, but I don't know how you'd really address that, I guess.
I don't like spiders, but this wasn't so bad because I made it. He's there, I'm here, we're good. I like being able to see him though from a distance, that's okay. I thought something that could have been different, maybe on the picture have like more like, I don't know, detail almost, because I was kind of like, oh yeah, this is pretty easy, but I guess it is second grade, so it wouldn't be so bad. I like the activities though.
Okay. You know, this is one of the first lessons where there have been that many questions from the class. So that's real. That's what's going to happen in a real classroom, regardless of what grade you're doing this with. My one suggestion for the worksheet, second graders, their fine motor skills, you got to have bigger lines because the cephalothorax. Oh my gosh, they could take half a page.
Okay, maybe even if you like wrote the definitions out for them and you just left a couple words blank that they would fill in.
That might be a possibility. Either that or create a big poster and have them come up. My suggestion, if you do the big poster and you're going to do some labeling, laminate it so you don't have to reproduce it every year. But very, very fascinating. Fascinating piece. So thank you for really teaching all of us something new today. So thank you.